Syrian refugees donate $2,200 to fight COVID-19 outbreak around the world. Tzu Chi volunteers in Shenyang cook vegetarian meals for medical staff in quarantine. I'm Sean Scanlon. This is DaAi Headlines. Turkey Tzu Chi volunteers held aid distributions over the course of 2 days, helping more than 6,000 Syrian families. As the COVID-19 epidemic spreads globally, Syrian refugees feel for the sick and made donations totaling $2,200.
اللهم ارحمهم بأن تصرف عنهم هذا البلاء وهذا الوباء واجعلهم في أمن وأمان وأصلح ذات بيننا وأصلح بين السوريين أنفسهم يا رب.
نحن كمسلمين كسوريين طالعين من جو حرب من هذا ما نتمنى لأي إنسان أذية في العالم كله.
Palms side by side facing upward, as if holding the Quran in their hands. These Syrians are praying sincerely for people afar.
As Muslims from Syria, we pray that the COVID-19 epidemic can end and the patients can recover soon. We also pray that people will not be threatened by the virus. We pray for the world again.
At the monthly aid distribution Turkey Tzu Chi volunteers hold for Syrians, they also pray for the epidemic to end and share health knowledge.
Avoid going to crowded places. Wash hands frequently with soap and water. Protect yourselves and protect other people. Of course, wear a mask when necessary.
In two distributions, more than 6,000 Syrian families donated about $2,200 to help the needy. For refugees who have little, the donation is very precious.
After watching the video about the epidemic, I feel really sad. I pray that Allah will bless the patients. I hope every country can be safe and stable. May illnesses and disasters go away.
As a member of the global village, we are on the same boat. No one can ignore the seriousness and uncertainties of the virus. We must pray sincerely that the epidemic will not spread so people can be safe.
The Syrian refugees who have suffered from the atrocities of wars can still reach out to help other people in need. This love is pure and precious.
Vietnam Tzu Chi volunteers have been visiting care recipients in Tra Vinh Province monthly. Besides providing financial aid, volunteers also provide medical consultation. To fight the coronavirus epidemic, volunteers have given them masks and soap.
Before entering people's houses, the volunteers disinfect their hands with alcohol spray. They also remind the care recipients to wash their hands often and wear masks. Dong Van Todd has taken action to reciprocate the volunteers' care.
Bỏ hàng ngày hay sao chú?
Bỏ hàng ngày.
Tại sao vậy?
Ngàn vậy.
Bỏ chi vậy?
I put change into the coin bag every day. I do this because I want to help other people in need.
A doctor also joins the volunteers in visiting the care recipients. This woman who has Parkinson's disease has tremors. Since her condition has worsened recently, the doctor immediately diagnoses her conditions. Because they are as close as a family, the care recipient is reluctant to part with the volunteers.
You have to take good care of your health. Remember to come back and visit me even till I am 100 years old.
During the monthly visits, they are not only provide financial aid, they also provide emotional support.
My heart goes out to them. I want to work even harder to raise funds for them and alleviate their suffering.
Through conducting home visits, the volunteers have strengthened their vows to serve the underprivileged. A cycle of love has been created in the countryside.
Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers have continued to work with Mengtouguo Charity Association since the epidemic began. Tzu Chi has worked closely with the association, ensuring they have the preventative measures needed. Since February, Tzu Chi volunteers also provided medical supplies to local hospitals. as well as the community, to show their support for frontline medical staff and police officers.
前方路线附近，玉泉北里2区有疫情病例，请戴好口罩，注意防护。
Originally, Beijing is a city with lots of vehicle traffic, but due to the citywide shutdown still going on, traffic is very light, and thus Tzu Chi's vehicle to deliver measures for virus prevention arrived at the destination earlier than stated.
现在是全国性的防疫嘛。
The whole country is on alert, and Mengtouguo is one of the places that Tzu Chi volunteers in Beijing have a strong connection with. We are honored we can help provide some medical supplies for the local hospital.
他当地的医疗补助一些和医疗用品，当然我们也是感觉到特别的高兴，也特别愿意来给做这件事情。
The weather temps of northern China in February during the day is often in the single digits. And with the epidemic period going on, the streets are deserted. However, Tzu Chi volunteers have visited Mengtouguo 3 times already to give supplies in support of their medical needs.
因为我觉得慈济是怎么说是真正的。
I feel Tzu Chi is a real charity organization because they help from their hearts those who need assistance and never ask for anything in return. I think I'm especially moved by that fact. It is something we should all learn.
理念特别好，这也是我们学习的方向。
Besides providing medical facilities with epidemic preventative supplies, the volunteers also send their care right into the community.
The officers have not been able to return home since the beginning of the Lunar New Year, and our delivery team have been very responsible too. And since the epidemic happened, they have worked especially hard. It's due to their hard work that the citizens of the communities can be safe. We're not able to put ourselves on the front line of defense, but we can take our gratitude and share them with blessings and love in a show of support.
Due to the coronavirus, we have not seen these care recipients for over a month now. We have them in our thought and miss them. This is their community, which you can see if closed off, so we cannot enter. We have called them to schedule a meeting.
Volunteers could only meet with the care recipients for a short while, but they don't forget to ask after their health.
Being a vegetarian is good. I'm keeping to a vegetarian diet because it's been for my health. When I ate meat, I had a lot of digestive problems, and this past year since I've been vegetarian, my gut health has improved.
Tzu Chi volunteers in various places are doing their best to support epidemic prevention measures. For example, volunteers in Shenyang, China, wake up early to cook nutritious vegetarian breakfast for medical staff currently in hotel quarantine.
In early morning, although the streets still seem quiet, volunteers in Chi office were already busy washing rice to cook porridge. They also steam buns and cook 2 side dishes, making breakfast specially for quarantined medical staff staying in hotel.
Dishes every day are different, allowing them to eat more nutritious and yummy food.
Chi volunteers were mobilized to cook as soon as they got the request. Although bread and milk were easily accessible, they insist on making soup by themselves. They did shopping every day to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. Dishes, which were also different every day, were kept warm during delivery upon arriving at the hotel.
In
order to let them have a good vegetarian breakfast, Tzu Chi volunteers woke up at 4 o'clock and arrived at 5:30 a.m. to prepare.
With a view to avoid people gathering to prevent the epidemic, 5 volunteers in a group were stripped to cook breakfast. Before entering office, they also needed to disinfect first.
Volunteers are required to disinfect their hands using sanitizer first, followed by wearing gloves and masks, as well as getting their belongings sanitized before entering office.
Volunteers face the epidemic seriously and maintain good health in hopes to best support the medical staff.
The coronavirus epidemic continues to spread, and although there are no confirmed cases in New York, residents of Flushing, who are mainly Chinese and Koreans, are worried about the shortage of supplies and began to stock up. A member of New York City Council said there were sufficient supplies and urged people not to panic.
Bags of rice are being sent in, ready to cope with the novel coronavirus epidemic. People's awareness of epidemic prevention in New York's Chinese community has been raised, although the business in restaurants has worsened, that in supermarkets has increased by 50%. Some materials, like rice, have run out of stock.
This is a one-time panic buying. We have a lot of reserve. We just need to wait for delivery. In fact, there is a sufficient amount of stock in New York and the United States, especially for rice, which is an export material.
The United States Department of Homeland Security recommends that households can have 2 weeks of supply stock and over-the-counter medicines, and members of the Congress have specifically clarified that this is actually the basic amount of household storage, and there is no need to panic and overstock.
If you live in countryside or far away and you do your shopping once a week, then you will definitely buy more. Yet in our Flushing district, there are more than 20 supermarkets here. You can do shopping every day and hence do not need to buy a lot.
As for most customers, they do buy more than in the past. But as a whole, although people are alert, they are not pessimistic about the epidemic.
I think it should be safe here because the population density is not as high as that in China. We need to be optimistic to increase our immunity.
There are no confirmed cases in New York now. Citizens do not need to panic too much. Mr. Koo said that the population of 10 million people in New York City is indeed dense. It is still necessary to do well in preventive measures. For example, wash hands and disinfect always, which is the best protection against the novel coronavirus and the current influenza epidemic.
COVID-19 has a gene sequence 79% similar to SARS, which caused a panic in Taiwan in 2003. Epidemic prevention experts believe that the trajectory of the virus will be similar to SARS, causing great alarm. Some believe we can learn from SARS and potentially prevent history from repeating itself. Let's take a look back to that time.
I'm declaring a public health emergency of international concern. The main reason for this declaration is not because of what is happening in China, but because of what is happening in other countries.
This is the 6th public health emergency declared by the WHO in history. The past 5 events, including the 2009 H1N1 flu, the 2014 polio virus outbreak, Ebola virus outbreak in West Africa in 2014, Zika virus outbreak in Brazil in 2016, and Ebola outbreak in Congo in 2018. With the new respiratory virus labeled as a public health emergency, it's serious, sudden, not normal, and accidental. It needs to be addressed by the international community. It also means China may be subject to further restrictions on travel and trade activities by various countries. Coronaviruses are named after the crown-shaped granules and having a crown-like shape. They're mutated RNA viruses, and there are dozens of coronaviruses currently known, of which 6 affect humans. The most well-known and most epidemic-causing was the SARS virus, and in the Middle East, the MERS virus comes from the same family.
The virus will mutate, so after entering the human population, it may be like SARS.
The pneumonia is not very clear because it is at the beginning of the epidemic. Its infectivity and the number of people infected may be much larger than SARS. This is related to the characteristics of the virus. So we need to find methods to limit those patients with mild or asymptomatic infections from interacting with others.
The panic triggered by the virus is very similar to SARS, almost 79% in fact. From 2002 to 2003, the number of SARS cases worldwide was 8,096, resulting in a total of 774 deaths. For many people, SARS is a difficult memory, but what happened 17 years ago at the Taipei City Hospital Heping branch is a history that can never be forgotten. The first case of suspected SARS infection in Taiwan was March 14, 2003. At that time, the Department of Health confirmed that a Taiwanese businessman with the family name of Qin was a possible SARS case. On April 24th of the same year, cluster infection broke out the Heping branch, becoming the first in Taiwan's history because the hospital was specially designated to treat infectious diseases. Chen Qingchu, the head nurse at the hospital, died after contracting SARS while taking care of a patient. She died more than 10 days after the onset of the illness, becoming the first medical staff in Taiwan to die from SARS infection. Subsequently, another 10 medical staff died because of the virus. Former Health Minister Ye Qingchuan was teaching at Tzu Chi University in Hualien at the time, voluntarily entered the hospital's Heping branch after receiving a call from an old colleague to help fight SARS.
This was the first time such a situation had occurred in the Heping branch. It is inevitable that things were chaotic, but we still had more than 80% of our medical staff committed to their work. Of course, there were still many people who were afraid and hid. In fact, this is understandable.
On the one hand, Ye confidently encouraged the medical staff, while on the other hand, required all equipment to be properly put into place and each patient classified.
Actually, it ended soon because there was no new infection case as soon as the quarantine was put into place. Then there was no new infection and the all infected patients were transported out to the negative pressure isolation ward. After this, the outbreak at Heping branch ended.
Today, the Heping branch has escaped the shadow of SARS but has learned a painful lesson. After more than a decade, there have been several outbreaks of infectious diseases in the world. The new coronavirus is definitely not the last, as only a more complete public health protection system can meet the serious challenges of emerging infectious diseases in the future.
During the epidemic, the medical professionals' workload has increased, but many faithfully serve patients. Singapore Tzu Chi Humanistic Youth Center's vegetarian restaurant is providing medical professionals with discounts to show their appreciation and also promote vegetarianism.
After working all morning, lunch is the time for office workers to recharge. During the epidemic time, eating well is important for medical professionals. The vegetarian restaurant at Singapore Tzu Chi Humanistic Youth Center is providing discounts to medical professionals. In addition, an enterprise is sponsoring the medical staff, hoping to encourage them.
This is a time which we feel that we all should stick together, help one another, and we hope to make a difference and to make the healthcare workers feel appreciated and also better recharged for them to return to the front line to fight the disease again.
I feel very warm. They are taking care of medical professionals. When we are busy, we can look forward to enjoying a meal.
Yes, and we appreciate it because there's a lot of love and care from public. I have been vegetarian since young, and I think it's very healthy. Maybe this will motivate people more become a vegetarian. Yeah.
Besides providing discounts on meals, the restaurant staff provides care. The food here is fresh and healthy, and eating healthy is a way to fight the virus.
We do not only promote vegetarian food, we also promote healthy food. It is important that we have good immune system.
We cannot do the work of the nurses. What we can do is utilize our professionalism and let them eat healthily so they can have more energy to go back and serve our patients. I think this is very good.
Oh, I love the environment inside the restaurant because of the view of it. Totally out of hospital environment. And it's a calm, it's relaxed. So it makes a lot of difference when I go back, very fresh.
Providing discounts is a way to express people's appreciation of the medical professionals and also a way to promote vegetarianism.
In Indonesia, a farmer has been troubled by cataracts and has not been able to see out of one eye for 4 years. In 2017, he attended a free clinic hosted by Tzu Chi in Sekarang, and Hussein has finally been able to get the surgery he needs.
Kalau yang sebelah normal, yang sebelah nggak ngelihat. Lama tuh hampir 3 tahunan lah.
Hussein has had cataracts for many years, but the money he makes as a farmer cannot afford him the surgery he needs. It was 3 years ago at a free eye clinic that changed his life forever.
Penyelenggaraan oleh Tzu Chi itu organisasinya cukup baik.
Tzu Chi's free clinic are conducted well. During surgery, the patients can maintain their physical well-being as well as mental well-being. Tzu Chi also provides adequate medication and equipment.
Ya, terima kasih ke Yayasan Buddha Tzu Chi.
I want to thank the Tzu Chi Foundation for giving me a free surgery. Thanks to them, I can see again.
With his vision restored, the steps he takes in the field are firmer than ever.
Indonesian artist Ridwan Manatik began creating works 20 years ago, and every piece of his artwork is about garbage. Through his artistic eye, he is helping raise awareness about environmental issues.
Artworks presented do not necessarily need to be a serene scenery, a striking portrait, or well-known landmark. For Indonesian artist Ridwan Manatik, he believes art can be used to educate people. This 52-year artist lives in West Java's Bogor city and sees the severity of the trash problem in his hometown. Thus, he wanted to promote environmental awareness through his artwork. The bottles and plastic waste floating on water are where Manatik draws his inspiration from.
Kebetulan saya tinggal di pinggir kali. Saya melihat sampah di mana-mana.
I live by the river where there's a lot of trash. Even just walking on the streets, there is still very much trash everywhere. The canal is littered with garbage as well. It really feels like trash is everywhere, and that's the problem I want to highlight. I want to raise the public's awareness. I want them to stop littering, so we're not overwhelmed by garbage.
Kita, bagaimana sampah ini tidak berada di mana-mana.
Each art piece conveys its own meaning to educate the people. Each time Manatik has an exhibition, he also shares his own recycling experience with the audience too.
Setelah melihat ini,
After seeing these paintings, I realized how drawing trash away causes so many problems, like flooding. This really serves as a reminder to not throw trash down the sewers.
kayak macam di got atau di mana-mana.
Karya sampah ini kan menarik sebetulnya. Hari ini kita melihat sampah.
The process of turning garbage into art is really beautiful. Today, trash is everywhere in our community, and there is no solution to the problem. So I've highlighted trash as my main topic to address in my works of art.
Dan dikembangkan menjadi banyak sekali yang menjadi pengembangannya gitu.
The artwork, which he has just finished this year, will be on exhibition in Bogor City's Balai Budaya, where it will educate the public about the problems in the environment.
To prevent the COVID-19 epidemic, the Tzu Chi Walnut Education Center strengthens daily disinfection of doorknobs, washstands, office appliances, and children's play facilities. We'll leave you with these images. Goodbye.